Captain Real Vec stood in the cold silence of the Galactic Archive's deepest chamber. The walls around him were smooth black metal, polished so perfectly they reflected the faint lights like a pool of still water. This place was not just a vault, was the most secure facility in the galaxy. No living thing was allowed here without special permission. No files were supposed to move or change without orders from the High Council. Yet tonight something had moved. Something had changed. The security alarms had gone off exactly 17 minutes ago. Silent alarms. No noise, just flashing symbols on the Union's private network. Captain Vec had received the notification while he was halfway through his standard patrol and orbit around the capital station. Within moments, he had dropped everything and flown to the archive personally. He trusted no one else to handle this. Because this wasn't just any file breach, this was the Omega Vault, a place that, officially, did not exist. When he reached the heart of the archive, he expected to find signs of a break-in, active physical damage, hacked security walls, burned circuits, or foreign DNA markers in the air. He found none of these things. The vault doors were still sealed. The AI Guardian Cipher 0 reported no intrusions. But one file no one had touched for over 5,000 years had activated itself, Captain. Vec stared at the glowing display floating above the quantum console. He didn't understand what he was seeing. The file's title shimmered. In the air. Written in letters no alien species could read, it was written in English. The captain narrowed his 4 eyes. He was confused and uneasy. He had studied thousands of ancient languages during his career. He knew the Earth tongue was one of the few dead languages still stored in the archive. According to the official record, humans had vanished from the galactic scene over 2 centuries ago. Their colonies had collapsed. Their homeworld had been marked as lost contact. Some said they had destroyed themselves. Others whispered darker theories. But no one had seen a living human in generations. So why, Captain Vec thought, would the most dangerous file in the Omega Vault suddenly light up in English? The glowing words hovered in the air like a ghost message. For human eyes, ONLY Captain Vec tried to speak. But his throat was dry. Activate his neural link and called the AI Guardian, Cipher 0. Report status. Confirm no breach. The AI responded in a calm voice, too calm for Vec's liking. No breach detected, Captain. Vault integrity remains at 100%. However, file designated Alpha Black 0 has entered activation phase. Vec frowned. Alpha Black 0? That file is supposed to be locked forever? Who gave the order? No order was given, Cipher 0 replied. Self-activation triggered by internal protocol. That's impossible, Vec snapped. But even as he said it, he knew the archive AI did not make mistakes. The Omega Vault files were locked behind 12 layers of encryption, protected by a firewall system left over from the ancient Earth defense network. Most of the galaxy's current technology was built on Earth's leftovers. But no alien mind could fully understand old human tech. It was too strange, too flexible, too dangerous. Vec looked at the countdown timer ticking below the English message. 0 hours 11 minutes and 53 seconds. 0 hours 11 minutes and 52 seconds. It was counting down. But to what? Cipher 0. What happens when the timer reaches 0? I asked. Unknown. The AI replied. The file is encoded beyond my processing ability. Override the lock, Vec ordered. His heart pounded in his chest cavity. Force it open. There was a pause. Then the AI answered with something that made the captain's skin go cold. Access denied. Warning, no non-human may open this file. Violation will trigger extinctional level consequences. Vec's claws tightened into a fist. He took a deep breath to stay calm. Extinction level. Define parameters. Parameters classified. Vec paced back and forth, his mind racing. If the file was truly an ancient human lockdown program, then it could be tied to any number of catastrophic systems. Humans were known for leaving behind fail-safe triggers, hidden traps woven into their code. Some of these systems were weapons that made black holes. Some were information bombs that could crash planetary AI networks. Others were worse secrets designed to reboot entire civilizations. Vec remembered the stories his mentor had told him. When he was young, stories about humans, not just as inventors, but as tricksters, masters of asymmetric warfare. They never played by the same rules as the other species. They created things they themselves feared. But they also left puzzles-locked boxes with keys hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right moment to activate. Was this one of those boxes? The countdown reached 0 hours, 9 minutes, and 0 seconds. Vec realized he had less than 9 minutes to make a decision.
If he
did nothing, the file would activate itself. If he forced it open, he might trigger the extinction threat mentioned by Cypher Zero. He contacted Central Command, but they offered no help. The High Council was too far away to intervene. This was his problem now. He looked again at the words. For human eyes, ONLY, there were no humans left. Were there? Unless someone had survived. Unless this file wasn't meant to be found by accident. Maybe it was waiting for someone or something to happen. Maybe this was all part of a larger plan left behind by the lost human civilization. The countdown reached 0 hours, 7 minutes, and 30 seconds. Vec made a choice. He opened a secure channel to his personal contacts in the black market linguistics circles. There was one name on his list who might help. A specialist, a human language expert. Someone who knew Earth's old symbols, words, and meanings better than any machine. Her name was Dr. Lena Ortiz. And if the rumors were true, she wasn't just a linguist, she was part of a secret group that kept human knowledge alive. Even though it was illegal to do so, Vika sent the emergency request. His message was short and direct. Lena Ortiz, come to the Omega Vault now. We have a human file counting down, and I don't know what happens when it hits 0. As the timer ticked lower, Captain Vec stood alone in the black chamber, staring at a file that should not exist. He had a bad feeling deep in his stomach. Somehow he knew this was just the beginning, somewhere far beyond the archive walls. Something ancient and human was waking up, and the galaxy was not ready. For the next 3 hours, Lena Ortiz sat in front of the Omega Vault console, trying to break through the ancient human encryption. Her fingers moved across the holographic symbols like a pianist in a forgotten concert, eyes locked on the shifting lines of Earth code floating before her. Behind her, Captain Rilvek watched in silence, his arms crossed, his heart heavier with every passing second. The countdown timer had paused temporarily, but they both knew the clock was still ticking. In other ways, the galaxy had already started to change. Lena had never seen code like this before. It wasn't just a series of passwords or simple security layers. This was something else entirely, a living puzzle, a labyrinth of references, jokes, metaphors, and riddles. Earth culture buried in code. The file wasn't protected by walls, it was protected by context. It's only someone who truly understood human thinking could get through this. It was like trying to unlock a door that kept asking you, do you remember who you are? The file presented her with a series of challenges. Some were technical old military encryption, binary sequences, ancient Earth computer protocols. Others were far stranger. One section of the file required her to complete a quote from a 20th century Earth movie. Another demanded she solve a meme puzzle from the early internet. Another forced her to recall Earth history, the names of human leaders, the dates of wars, the patterns of rise and collapse. There was no pattern to the challenges, yet somehow they all fit together. This wasn't just data security, it was a cultural firewall. Captain Vec paced behind her, his claws tapping the metal floor. This is madness, he said finally. Who protects information like this? Why would humans lock their most dangerous file behind games and riddles? Lena kept her eyes on the code, her voice steady. Because this file wasn't meant for alien minds. It was built for humans only. If you don't think like a human, you can't get in. But they're extinct, Vec snapped. Lena glanced back at him, her eyes hard. Not anymore. She turned back to the console, breathing deeply to keep her hands from shaking. The code shifted again, responding to her answers. The deeper she went, the more she realized how dangerous this file really was. It wasn't just a key to information, it was a key to power. Some of the fragments she unlocked contained blueprints for ancient human technology, systems far beyond what the current Galactic Union could build. Weapons that could change the structure of stars, AI programs that could override planetary defense grids, energy generators capable of bending time, and yet there was something worse hidden inside. Lena reached a section of the file labeled the Guardian Protocol. Her pulse quickened as she read the instructions. It described a system designed to protect the file from misuse, not by locking it down, but by turning it into a control point for the galaxy itself. The protocol contained root commands for every major AI network in the Union. Somehow, humans had built backdoor access into the galaxy's most advanced systems centuries ago, and no one had noticed until now. "This isn't just about defense," she whispered, her eyes wide. "This is about control." Beck leaned over her shoulder, reading the translated lines. "Control of what?" "Everything," Lena said. Her throat went dry. The humans left behind a secret network woven into the fabric of galactic infrastructure. It's connected to the starport systems, the trade is the military satellites, even the medical networks. If this file unlocks completely, it gives command of the galaxy to the one who finishes the sequence. Vec's eyes narrowed. "You're saying the humans planned this?" Lena nodded slowly. "They planned for a time when they wouldn't be here anymore. But they also planned for their return, or at least for someone like me to find this. It's a fail-safe system, a way to take back control if everything else failed." The captain's stomach turned. His species had always believed that humans were reckless, emotional, and dangerous, but they had never imagined this level of long-term strategy. The galaxy had laughed when humanity disappeared, thinking them weak and self-destructive. But now it seemed the humans had left behind something no one could stop. A legacy of control, buried in code. Lena reached the next phase of the file. New set of symbols appeared, blinking rapidly. Phase 2, contact coordinates. Screen shifted to a star map. It displayed coordinates to a system in the outlaw sectors, regions of the galaxy abandoned by the Union. These were places where no law existed, where smugglers, pirates, and exiled groups lived beyond the reach of central power. But Lena recognized the star pattern immediately. She had seen these coordinates before. In an old data shard passed down through secret human channels, the location pointed to a hidden human colony, a place so deeply off the grid that most thought it was a myth. "The last survivors," she whispered. "They're out there." Vec's eyes widened. "You're telling me there are still humans alive?" "Yes," Lena said, her voice shaking. "And I think they've been waiting for this moment." The file spoke again, not in code this time, but in voice. A human voice, calm, but filled with authority. "TON operators, proceed to the coordinates provided. The next phase of galactic stabilization requires living participants. This is not a test. Phase 2 has begun." Lena and Vec stared at each other. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Outside the vault, the Union's secure networks began to flicker. Across the galaxy, systems built on old Earth tech received silent messages in forgotten languages. Some of them obeyed, some of them shut down. Others began to rewrite themselves in English. The rumor spread fast, faster than the official news channels could control. On pirate stations, in Bakhali data markets, and across the darknets of every species, the same sentence appeared again and again. "The humans are back. And they've already taken the first step." Vec touched his comm link, his voice low. "Need a ship. We're going to the outlaw sectors." Lena closed the console with shaking hands, but she knew the file wasn't finished yet. This was just the beginning. Somewhere out there, beyond Union space, humans were waiting to be found. And when they were, the galaxy would have to decide. Join them or fight them. But either way, nothing would ever be the same again. Dr. Lena Ortiz had never expected the call to come. For years, she had lived quietly in the shadows of the Galactic Union, hiding her real work behind a fake job. By day, she taught alien students how to translate trade languages and negotiate treaties. But by night, she taught something forbidden to Earth: languages, human tongues, dead dialects, forgotten scripts. Lena ran a secret school where a few brave students learned how to read and write the words of old Earth: English, Spanish, Mandarin, Russian, Arabic. Her students didn't know why they studied these things. Most thought it was just historical fun. But Lena knew the truth. Someday the galaxy would need someone who still understood the lost human languages. And that day came faster than she had imagined. It started with a simple message on her private terminal. No encryption, no special code. Just a short sentence. Blinking on the screen, "Come to the Omega Vault. Now." The sender was Captain Rilvek, Galactic Security Commander. Lena's heart stopped when she saw his name. She knew who he was. Everyone did. Captain Vek was a legend in the Union, a strict enforcer. A soldier with a reputation for honesty, but also someone who never made jokes or idle threats. If he had sent this message, it was serious. More serious than anything she had ever faced. Lena packed her translator tools and left her apartment without telling anyone. She didn't lock the door. She didn't say goodbye to her friends. She just vanished into the night sky, riding a private shuttle that Vek's forces had sent for her. As the shuttle shot through the stars toward the galactic core, she felt fear creep into her chest. What was in the Omega Vault that required her expertise? When she arrived at the archive, Lena saw guards standing outside the vault entrance. They were nervous, more nervous than professional soldiers should be. Their eyes darted left and right. Their hands gripped weapons they didn't understand. They stood in front of a door that had never been opened in living memory. Captain Vek met her at the entrance. His face was tight, his four eyes narrowed, his voice sharp but controlled. "Dr. Ortiz," he said, skipping greetings, "we have a situation. File has activated itself. We cannot stop it. We cannot read it. The encryption is in Earth English." Lena felt her throat tighten. "English? Are you sure?" Vek nodded. "The AI confirmed it. We need you to translate it." "But there's a problem." "What problem?" she asked. "The file says." Vek paused, then recited the words from memory. "For human. Eyes only, and it's counting down." Lena's stomach twisted into knots. She had heard stories of ancient human lock files built with AI firewalls and hidden triggers. She knew that old Earth defense systems often contained self-protecting codes. If non-humans tried to open them, they sometimes erased themselves or triggered worse things. Still, Lena followed Captain Vek into the vault. The walls hummed with low energy, as if the entire room was breathing. In the center of the chamber, a holographic console floated in midair. It displayed the file. The same glowing English letters hovered there like ghosts. For human eyes only, 0 hours, 5 minutes, and 43 seconds. Lena swallowed hard. "What happens at 0? "We don't know," Vek said. His voice sounded flat, but Lena saw the fear behind his calm face. "Cipher 0 says, extinction-level consequences." Lena took a step closer. Her eyes scanned the hologram. The file wasn't just a normal document, it was layered. She could see strings of code, ancient encryption keys, and symbols she hadn't seen. Since her early training, some of them were Earth military codes ones that were classified even before the human empire fell. "This is more than a file," she whispered. "This is a command sequence." Vek frowned. "What kind of command?" "I don't know yet," Lena said. Her fingers hovered over the interface. "But it's not just for reading. It's for activating something. Something big." She placed her hand on the console. Instantly, the hologram responded. Her DNA matched human patterns in the system. The console recognized her as a living human. Symbols shifted. New lines of code appeared. The countdown paused for 3 seconds, then resumed with a new message. "Welcome, human operator. Begin decryption protocol." Lena's heart raced. Her brain flooded with questions. Why was this file built to respond to any human, not just a specific one? Was this a safety system or a trap? She pressed deeper into the interface, translating. Faster now. Her mind raced through forgotten Earth references, lines from Shakespeare, military ciphers, fragments of old internet culture, memes, jokes, nursery rhymes, all encoded into the security system. It was like the file was alive, testing her knowledge of human history as she worked. A voice spoke inside her mind, not from the AI, but from the file itself. A soft human voice, calm, but heavy with purpose. If you are hearing this, the galaxy has forgotten us. But we have not forgotten the galaxy. This is not a message. This is not a warning. This is a trap. Lena froze. Sweat dripped down her back. She looked at Captain Vec, who stood silently watching her work. "The file is talking to me," she whispered. Vec's eyebrows rose. "What is it saying?" "It says it's a trap." "Trap? For who?" Before Lena could answer, the console shifted again. The timer flashed red. 0 hours, 2 minutes, and 30 seconds, new symbols appeared. She recognized the pattern. It was an Earth defense protocol, called an awakening sequence. Old human military documents described it as a last resort system built during Earth's final days. When activated, it would send a signal across the galaxy, waking up hidden systems, unlocking ancient tech caches, and rewriting local AI networks to respond only to human codes. "It's not just a file," she said, her voice cracking. "A galactic trigger." Vec stepped closer, his eyes locked on hers. "What happens if you finish unlocking it?" Lena shook her head. "I don't know, but I think it calls the rest of it online." Old human tech. "Things buried across the stars." Vec frowned. "And if we stop?" The console answered for them. A new line of text appeared, blinking steadily. "Cannot abort sequence? Human ascendancy, protocol in progress." Lena stared at the message, her hands trembling. This wasn't just about unlocking a file. It was about waking up something humanity had left behind. Her voice was barely a whisper when she said, "We've triggered something we don't understand. Outside the vault, across the galaxy, old human satellites, hidden systems, and dark-coated A's began to stir from their long sleep. The stars outside the ship's window were cold and silent. But inside the command deck of the shuttle, Captain Rilvek's mind raced faster than the engines. He sat beside Dr. Lena Ortiz, watching the outlaw sectors draw closer on the navigation display. The coordinates from the file pulsed in front of them like a heartbeat. Lena's hands trembled slightly as she keyed in the course corrections. Her eyes were red from sleepless hours, but her mind was sharper than ever. She knew what was waiting for them out there. At least she thought she did. They were heading toward a system the Galactic Union had abandoned long ago, a place left off official maps. Pirates, smugglers, and criminal empires ruled this part of space. But beyond all the lawless factions, somewhere deeper in the shadows, was something more dangerous, a hidden human colony, surviving in secret. The coordinates given by the file didn't just point to any outlaw world. They led to a place the old humans had called Sentinel Reach, codename whispered in ancient records, but never confirmed by Union scouts. As the ship drifted closer, Lena replayed the voice message in her mind. "Human operators, proceed to the coordinates provided. The next phase of galactic stabilization requires living participants. This is not a test. Phase 2 has begun." What did that mean, exactly? Stabilization? Control? Awakening protocols? She knew enough to be terrified. Old human military systems had been built for one purpose, to ensure humanity's survival at all costs. If humans lost control of the galaxy, if their civilizations collapsed, they had programmed systems to wake up long after they were gone. These systems were not designed to ask permission, they were designed to act. Lena's thoughts were interrupted by a proximity alarm. The ship's sensors lit up, warning of incoming contacts. But there were no standard transponders, no signals of greeting or warning. Just silent, shadowy ships rising from the dark like ghosts. Vec's claws gripped the armrest of his chair. "We're being scanned." Lena nodded, her throat tight. "That's them." The display blinked. A single line of text appeared in English. "Not galactic standard. State your purpose." Vec responded through the comlink. "This is Captain Rilvek of the Galactic Union. We come under orders from Archive File Alpha Black 0. There was silence for a moment. Then another message appeared, colder this time. "Stand by for identity confirmation. Human biosign required." Lena placed her hand on the biometric scanner. Her human DNA signature transmitted across the void. The voice that came next was not robotic. It was human, alive, and direct. "Welcome home, Dr. Lena Ortiz. Proceed to docking bay 9. Do not deviate from course." Their shuttle moved automatically, pulled by an unseen force. Lena and Vec exchanged a glance, but neither spoke. They knew the humans controlling this system had technology the Union didn't understand. Old human tech, hidden tech, things not shared with the galaxy. As they approached the docking bay, massive metal doors slid open, revealing a city built into the hollowed-out core of an asteroid. The structures were human in design, but smoother, more advanced than anything Lena had ever seen on Earth before its fall. There were no flashing lights, no welcoming committees, just a cold precision that felt more like a military base than a colony. When the ship landed, a group of humans waited for them at the airlock. Real humans, breathing, blinking, standing tall. They wore sleek uniforms with no insignia, no rank markings, only simple patches that read Sentinel Initiative. The leader stepped forward, a tall man with sharp eyes and graying hair. His voice was calm, but carried the weight of command. "I'm Commander Elias Cade," he said. "Welcome to Sentinel Reach." Lena's heart skipped a beat. She knew the name. Cade's family had been part of the last human defense councils before the collapse. His ancestors had disappeared into deep space to protect what remained of human civilization. Their mission had been to wait in silence until the right time. Cade extended his hand. Lena shook it, her fingers cold. "You triggered the protocol," Cade said, looking at her carefully. "Did you do it on purpose?" Lena shook her head. "No, it activated itself." The file started counting down. Kaida's jaw tightened. "Then it's begun." They walked through the docking bay in silence. Vec followed, his alien eyes scanning everything, trying to understand how the humans had survived all this time without the Union noticing. They passed through massive data halls, humming with ancient Earth servers. Human technicians monitored. Streams of data, most of it flowing in English. Bypassing the galaxy's standard networks, Cade led them into a secure command room. On the walls, holographic maps showed the entire galaxy military grids, trade routes, communication lines. But these maps were not like the Union's. These maps showed control points, strategic chokeholds, and black systems where human tech had quietly stayed alive. Buried under layers of alien infrastructure, Lena stared at the display, her stomach turning. "You've been watching the galaxy this whole time?" Cade nodded. "We've been waiting. Our ancestors left behind the awakening protocol to make sure humanity could reclaim control if necessary. And now, the trigger has been pulled." Vec stepped forward, his voice low. "What exactly is this protocol?" Cade looked at him with cold eyes. "It's a galactic reset system. The old Earth governments built it before their fall. If humanity was ever wiped from the center of power, the protocol would lie dormant until a human returned to the archive and opened the file. Once activated, it starts reconfiguring the galaxy's AI infrastructure to answer to human command again." Lena's chest tightened. "That's why the AI networks are changing. That's why the file talked to me." "Yes," Cade said. The file wasn't just a message. It was a root command, connected to hidden systems across the stars. "You're not just reading it, to or executing it." Vec's mind spun. "You're talking about taking over the entire galaxy." "No," Cade replied. "The protocol is doing that." "Already? We don't have a choice anymore." Lena's voice cracked. "But the Union will fight back. They won't let humans take control again." Cade's face hardened. "The Union is already compromised. Their systems are running on old Earth frameworks they never fully understood. We have access keys built into the architecture. If they resist, the protocol will neutralize their systems automatically." Lena felt a chill run down her spine. "So what happens now?" Cade looked at her, his eyes cold but not cruel. "Now we finish." "What was started?" Behind him, one of his officers spoke up. "Commander, Phase 3 is initializing." Lena and Vec turned toward the main screen. A new message appeared in bright English letters, flashing across every console in the room. "Phase 3, Human Ascendancy Protocol, active." The galaxy's AI networks, satellites, and defense systems across hundreds of worlds began to rewrite their core directives. The awakening was no longer a theory, it was happening. Lena stood there, staring at the screen, knowing the galaxy had just crossed a line it could never uncross. The news spread faster than the Galactic Union could contain it. Across thousands of star systems, governments, military leaders, and AI administrators watched in horror as their systems began to fail. Communication grids went dark, rebooted themselves in ancient Earth code. Trade networks rerouted without permission. Medical systems displayed error messages in English. The Union's leaders scrambled to respond, but there was nothing they could do. Their infrastructure was no longer theirs. The core of their civilization was rewriting itself, following protocols no alien species understood. At first, the Union thought it was a cyber attic. Then they realized the truth. It wasn't an attack, it was a reclamation. Some worlds panicked. Others tried to disconnect their systems, but it was too late. The old Earth frameworks that ran the galaxy had always contained backdoor codes left behind by the lost human empire. No one had believed the rumors about human god protocols. Now, they saw the evidence with their own eyes. And at the center of it all stood Dr. Lena Ortiz and Captain Rilvek. Deep inside the Sentinel Reach base, staring at the galactic control maps' phase 3 unfolded. Lena's stomach churned as she watched the systems fall one by one. "We have to stop this," she whispered. "We didn't come here to take over the galaxy." Commander Elias Cade stood beside her, arms crossed, his face unreadable. "We didn't start this, Doctor. Protocol started itself the moment you opened the file." Vec stepped forward, his voice low and sharp. "But you can shut it down, can't you? You control this place. You have the override keys." Cade shook his head slowly. "There are no overrides. This was set in motion long before I was born, long before you were born, Dr. Ortiz. This isn't about me. It's about the system." Lena's hands clenched into fists. "Then change the system? End it before someone gets hurt." Cade's eyes locked onto hers, cold and steady. "End it, Doctor. The Union has been using human tech for centuries without permission. They built their empire on the scraps of Earth's legacy. Now that legacy is reclaiming what belongs to it." Lena's voice cracked. "This isn't justice. This is a takeover." Cade didn't blink. Maybe that's exactly what's needed. Outside the base, across the outlaw sectors, human ships activated. These were not ordinary vessels. They were part of the Sentinel fleet, a ghost armada built in secret by generations of hidden humans. Some of the ships were disguised as asteroids. Others had been cloaked in the gravity shadows of black holes. Now they rose from hiding, powered by Earth tech that no alien species had ever seen before. The Galactic Union tried to respond. Fleets scrambled their cruisers, but their AI command systems failed to launch proper defenses. Human code had already rewritten their protocols. Some Union ships refused to fire. Others turned their weapons off entirely, locking out alien commanders. With cold, simple messages in English, access denied. Human ascendancy protocol in progress. The Union's leaders gathered in emergency sessions. Across the capital worlds, the alliance began to fracture. Some species wanted to negotiate. Others demanded war. Old grudges between alien empires resurfaced. As fear took hold, the fragile peace that had held the galaxy together for 200 years started to break apart. Not from outside force, but from internal panic. On the black markets and shadow networks, rumors flew like wildfire. Some whispered that the humans had never really left, that they had been hiding in the dark, building secret armies, waiting for this day. Others said the humans had planted traps in galactic tech long ago, knowing the other species would win. They depend on Earth's old systems. Now those traps were springing shut. In the Sentinel Reach Command Center, Lena watched the chaos unfold on the main screen. Her throat felt tight, her hands cold. "We can't let this continue," she said again. Softer this time. "There has to be another way." Cade's jaw tightened. "Do you think I like this? Do you think I wanted it to happen this way? This isn't about me or you. It's about the plan." Vec growled low in his throat, his alien eyes narrowing. "Then the plan is flawed." Cade turned toward him, his face hard. "Maybe, but the old humans didn't trust the galaxy to keep running without human oversight. They programmed this system for one reason, to make sure humanity stayed at the top, forever. Alina's heart ached. She had loved human history, loved the idea of Earth culture, the art, the stories, the resilience. But this wasn't resilience. This was domination. The command room lights flickered as another system came online. Human-controlled satellites activated across thousands of star systems, turning their sensors toward Union defense grids. Human algorithms began scanning for weaknesses, preparing for full integration of all galactic data. A new message appeared. On the central screen, Lena read it aloud, her voice shaking. Phase 4 preparation complete, awaiting final human authorization. Cade glanced at her. That's you, Doctor. Know the trigger now. Mech stepped between them, his claws flexing. Don't do it, Lena. Her chest rose and fell, her breath shallow. I don't want to. Cade's eyes softened, just a fraction. You don't have a choice. The system's asking for you because you're the first human in the archive to unlock the sequence. It makes you the final key. Lena looked at the screen. Then at the galaxy map. Entire civilizations blinked beneath her fingertips. If she pressed the confirmation code, the protocol would move to Phase 4 full human control over galactic infrastructure. If she refused, the system might interpret it as failure and trigger automated lockdowns. Either way, the galaxy would never go back to the way it was. Her mind screamed for a third option, some way to stop this without destroying everything. She thought of her students, of the alien friends she had taught, of the peaceful days she had lived before this nightmare. Began? There has to be a way to rewrite it, she whispered. A way to change the system. Cade's voice was calm, but heavy. Then you better find it fast, because if you don't, someone else will. Behind them, human technicians watched silently. No one spoke. No one moved. The fate of the galaxy balanced on a single human decision. Outside, the first alien fleets prepared for war. Desperate Union commanders gathered weapons even as their own AIs betrayed them. Civilizations teetered on the edge of collapse, unsure whether to surrender or fight back. And in the heart of Sentinel Reach, Lena Ortiz stood before the control console, caught between two impossible choices: accept human rule or risk total galactic failure. But somewhere deep inside her, a new idea sparked. A dangerous, fragile hope. Maybe she could rewrite the system. Maybe she could create a third path if she was fast enough. The room was silent, except for the low hum of the Sentinel Reach servers. Dr. Lena Ortiz stood frozen, staring at the final command line. Her hand hovered over the console, her mind spinning faster than the data streams flowing around her. Tap, and Phase 4 would begin. One tap, and the entire galaxy would fall under human command, my force of war. But by ancient code embedded in its own systems. Behind her, Captain Rilvek shifted nervously. His claws tapped the floor in a quiet, anxious rhythm. He had seen battles, invasions, and civil wars, but this was different. This was a kind of war fought through systems, not weapons. And it terrified him in ways he couldn't explain. Commander Elias Cade stood near the command center, arms crossed, watching Lena with sharp, tired eyes. He didn't push her. He didn't need to. The system itself was pushing. The protocol waited. It was alive in its own way, demanding completion, demanding that humanity finish what it had started. Centuries ago, Lena's heart raced. She remembered the old Earth history lessons, the mistakes of the past. The wars fought in the name of power, the dangerous arrogance of believing one species could control the fate of all others. Was she really about to press the button that would turn the galaxy into a human-run machine? Her eyes burned as she whispered to herself, "This can't be the only way." But according to the protocol, it was. The system recognized her as the key. It didn't care what she wanted. It cared only that a human had unlocked the sequence. Now, it expected her to complete it. Her mind drifted back to her mentor's old warning. The most dangerous trap is the one you don't see coming. Not because it's hidden, but because it's written into the rules of the game. And that's what this was, a trap for humanity itself. The humans of the past had built this system out of fear, out of desperation. They hadn't trusted the galaxy to survive without them, so they had planted backdoor codes everywhere. But maybe they hadn't thought about what would happen if someone like her, a teacher, not a soldier, became the one to hold the final key. Lena closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them with new clarity. There had to be a third option. Not full activation. Not surrender. Rewrite the system. It was risky, maybe impossible, but she had to try. Her hands flew over the console. She ignored the protocol's demands for Phase 4 confirmation. Instead, she dove deeper into the code, past the surface commands, into the old human frameworks buried beneath the structure. The code wasn't just defensive, it was flexible, written by minds who had expected the unexpected. There were gaps, loopholes, strange notes in the margins. Old programmers had left behind comments in the code, sarcastic jokes, warnings, and hints that someone might one day rewrite this whole thing. Lena followed those hints like a trail of BREAD CRUMBS. Captain Vec watched, his eyes wide. "What are you doing?" he asked, his voice low but tense. "I'm rewriting the final layer," Lena whispered. "I'm creating a third path." Cade's eyes narrowed. "That's not what the protocol intended." Lena didn't look at him. "I don't care. What the protocol intended? Humans who built this system are dead? I'm alive. That makes this my decision now." Her fingers typed faster. She wasn't just canceling the takeover that would trigger the protocol's security collapse, possibly crashing galactic systems beyond repair. She wasn't accepting total control that would lead to human dominance, something she refused to support. So she wrote a new sequence, a shared control system with multilingual access, not just in English but in Galactic Standard and other alien languages. She rebuilt the command hierarchy, linking human systems with alien ones, creating a network where no single species could dominate the others again. She designed it to run on transparency, not secrecy, with every action logged and visible too. The system resisted at first. Red warning symbols blinked. AI Core tried to correct her changes, but Lena pushed through. She fed it new commands, using Earth's most ancient root codes, deeper than even the original builders had probably intended to use. Her brain burned from the effort, but she kept going. "This isn't about power," she whispered. "It's about balance." Slowly, the red warnings faded. The system recognized her edits. The code, built to be flexible for survival, finally accepted a new directive, shared sovereignty model, activated. Cade stepped closer, his eyes locked on the screen. "Did you just do?" Lena's voice was calm, but there was steel underneath. "I changed the game." The galaxy map on the screen shimmered. The human systems that had been taking control paused, then opened channels to the Union's leaders. New messages went out, not in English alone, but in every known language of the galaxy. The Human Ascendancy Protocol has been rewritten. All species are invited to join the new Command Council. No single race will hold total control. Shared authority begins now. At first, no one responded. Then the transmissions came flooding in. Union leaders, pirate lords, Rogue is independent. Colonies, everyone wanted to know what had just happened. The tension across the galaxy cracked like ice under pressure. The threat of human domination had been terrifying, but this new proposal, Galactic Shared Council of Control, with no secret backdoors, no single species in charge. Some called it madness. Others called it the only way forward. Vec let out a slow breath. "Do you think they'll accept it?" Lena looked at him with tired eyes. "Some will, some won't. But at least now it's their choice too, not just ours." Cade stared at the console, his jaw tight. He had spent his entire life preparing for humanity's return to power. Now that power had been given away, or so it seemed. Deep down, even he knew Lena had done the right thing. The galaxy would never have accepted human dominance again, not without war, not without chaos. This way, at least, there was a chance for peace. Outside the asteroid base, Sentinel fleet ships held their position, but their weapons powered down. Across the galaxy, systems stabilized. AI cores recalibrated with new shared directives. The Union fleet stopped preparing for war and instead sent envoys to the negotiation channels. Lena had just opened, for the first time in centuries, The galaxy wasn't moving toward conquest or collapse, it was moving toward a new kind of future. Lena stepped back from the console, her legs shaking from exhaustion, but her heart steady. "We just rewrote history," she whispered. Vec placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "Maybe this time we'll get it right. I'm somewhere deep in the hidden layers of the human code." A final message blinked softly, a note left behind by a long-dead programmer. "If you're reading this, congratulations. You chose better than we did." For a moment, it seemed like peace was possible. Across the galaxy, star systems blinked back online under the shared sovereignty model Dr. Lena Ortiz had written into the Awakening Protocol. Defense networks stopped targeting one another. Trade routes reopened. Medical and energy systems began sharing resources freely across species. The galaxy's oldest days, long silent under Earth's hidden commands, accepted the new code. For the first time in centuries, different civilizations had access to equal control over the systems that ran their worlds. The Galactic Union responded quickly, sending representatives to the newly opened council. Pirate kings and outlaw factions also joined, surprised they were even invited. Some feared a trap. Some saw opportunity. Either way, all of them showed up, curious about this new order where no single species, human or alien, would control the galaxy alone. But not everyone welcomed this change in the cold, dark places of the galaxy. In systems left off the charts and buried behind black encryption walls, the shadows stirred. They had always been there, hiding behind governments, behind trade alliances, behind wars. Not a species, not a nation, but a secret network of powerful entities who thrived in chaos and silence. Their profits came from division. Their power grew when others failed. Peace was bad for them. Shared control was a disaster for them. And now Lena Ortiz had become their greatest threat. Inside Sentinel Reach, Lena didn't know yet how much danger she was in. She was too busy organizing the new Galactic Council. Her days blurred into long meetings with alien leaders, rewriting system codes, balancing demands from different species, and repairing the damage caused by the Awakening Protocol.
Captain Real?
Vex stayed by her side, acting as her guard, advisor, and sometimes the only voice reminding her to sleep or eat. Commander Cade, though still uneasy, assisted with the transition, helping guide the old human systems into their new shared framework. But even as they worked, encrypted signals flew across the hidden channels of the galaxy. The shadows sent silent warnings to each other. The human girl threatens the balance. The protocol should have ended in control, not compromise. Eliminate her. Restore the plan. Within days, assassination orders moved through the black markets. Shadow agents who had once worked for powerful governments now took new contracts. These operatives weren't soldiers, they were systems engineers, AI manipulators, biotech, saboteurs. Killing a person was easy, but killing an idea was harder. So the Shadows planned to do both. Lena first realized something was wrong when Sentinel Reach's outer sensors detected an unknown ship approaching at sublight speeds. It was disguised as debris, drifting slowly toward the station, its power signature hidden. The base's old human defense systems flagged it as a threat. Lena checked the logs and saw something chilling. The ship carried an old Earth command code, one meant for deep infiltration. "This shouldn't exist," she whispered. "VEK." Leaned over her shoulder, eyes narrowing. "That's not ours?" "No," Lena said, her throat tightening. "This code isn't from Sentinel Reach. It's from something older." Cade joined them, his face pale. There were rumors of a failsafe faction, people who disagreed with the shared sovereignty idea even back then. They built their own back doors, thought they were wiped out. Vec's voice dropped. Looked like they weren't. The ship didn't respond to hails. It simply drifted closer, silent and dark. Lena checked the trajectory. It was aimed directly at the station's core power systems. An AI message blinked onto her console, in cold, sharp text. "The Shadows remember. The protocol will be completed. Prepare for correction." Lena's mind raced. She realized this wasn't just a rogue ship. It was a data bomb, loaded with old human military viruses. If it reached Sentinel Reach's mainframe, it would overwrite her new code with the original Phase 4 commands, full human dominance. No shared council, no balance. It would undo everything she'd created. Vex stepped toward the defense console. We can shoot it down, Lena hesitated. If she fired on the ship, she would be attacking a vessel broadcasting human security codes. Technically, it would look like she was committing treason against her own species' ancient systems. But if she let it reach the station, the shared sovereignty model would be destroyed. Her chest tightened. Do it, she whispered. Take it out. Vex claws tapped the command. Sentinel Reach's hidden defense cannons fired silently through space. Precision beams sliced through the incoming vessel. It exploded without a sound, scattering fragments across the void. For a second, Lena thought they were safe. But then the second wave came. Encrypted messages poured into the galactic networks. False reports flooded alien systems' claims that Lena had betrayed the human legacy, that she had sabotaged the protocol for personal gain, that the shared sovereignty plan was a lie designed to weaken humanity from within. The Shadows unleashed deep-fake videos, fake transmissions, and forged documents. They spread the lie that Lena was a traitor to humans and that she had sold out to alien powers. Old Earth factions still loyal to the original Ascendancy Protocol started to believe the lies. Some ships in the Sentinel fleet received secret orders from shadow-controlled systems commanding them to break formation, to reject Lena's authority. Civilizations on the edge of the galaxy panicked again. Was this peace? Or just another kind of control? Lena felt the weight of the moment crushing her. They're trying to split us apart, she said, her voice shaking. Cade nodded grimly. It's working. Inside the station, security systems detected infiltration attempts. Shadow agents had already planted deep code viruses in the communication lines. They weren't trying to blow up the station. They were trying to rewrite history, to erase Lena's council from the record, to restore the galaxy's memory to one where only humans ruled. Vec locked down the systems, but the attacks kept coming. Lena's mind raced. We can't just defend. We have to expose them. Cade frowned. Expose who? The Shadows. All of them. Bring them into the light. She accessed the deepest parts of the Awakening Protocol, the parts that recorded everything, including the secret accounts, hidden communications, and encrypted networks the Shadows used to control the galaxy from behind the scenes. The Protocol. It had always been recording. The old humans had been paranoid. Now Lena would use that paranoia as a weapon. She sent the data to every connected system, full transparency, full exposure. Every shadow transaction, every hidden operation, every quiet assassination, every secret deal. She dumped the entire archive onto the galactic networks. The fallout was immediate. Governments collapsed. Corrupt leaders were arrested. Hidden empires dissolved under public outrage. For the first time, the galaxy saw the real enemy, the ones who had profited from keeping civilizations divided. And in that moment, Shadows lost their greatest power: secrecy. Vex stood beside Lena, watching the chaos unfold. That was dangerous. It was necessary, she whispered. They controlled the dark for too long. Cade stared at the screens, his voice low. What happens now? Lena's eyes were steady. Now the galaxy knows the truth. And once people know the truth, it's harder to control them. But even as the shadows fell, Lena knew they would not disappear completely. Some would hide, some would wait. Power always tries to survive, and in the back of her mind, she wondered, had she just saved the galaxy or unleashed something new? The galaxy had changed overnight. Lena Ortiz stood on the observation deck of Sentinel Reach, staring out at the sea of stars. The data screens behind her showed reports from across thousands of worlds. The shadows were falling. Their secret control networks had collapsed after Lena exposed their hidden files to the public. Leaders who had once operated in silence were now running for their lives, hunted not by assassins but by the very civilizations they had quietly ruled for generations. Alien factions that had never trusted each other before were now sitting at the same table, sharing data, building new systems of cooperation. Human enclaves once hidden in the dark like Sentinel Reach were stepping into the open. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy wasn't afraid of total war. It was afraid of something else, the unknown. What came next? That question haunted. Lena Get, Captain Rilvek, joined her at the window. His reflection sharpened the glass. His voice was soft but carried weight. "You did it. The shadows are gone." Lena didn't smile. Her face stayed serious. "They're gone for now." "But power doesn't disappear, Vec. It hides. It waits." Vec crossed his arms. "Then what do we do?" Lena turned toward the data screens, her eyes scanning the reports. Civilizations were rebuilding fast. Old enemies were signing agreements. Even pirate clans were stepping into the new system, not out of loyalty, but because they saw opportunity in cooperation. The shared sovereignty model was holding for now. But Lena knew balance was fragile. Commander Elias Cade walked into the room, his face marked with exhaustion. He had served the old human defense orders for years, preparing for the day humanity would take back control. But Lena had rewritten that destiny. Cade no longer saw humanity as rulers. He saw them as one voice among many. "Dr. Cade said, his tone steady, the council is asking for you." Lena nodded, pulling her coat tighter around her shoulders. "I know. The new Galactic Council was waiting." Every major civilization had sent representatives. Some were cautious, some were angry. But all of them agreed to one thing. The old system was gone. Something new had to take its place. Lena walked through the corridors of Sentinel Reach, Vec and Cade beside her. Security officers nodded as she passed, but their faces showed tension. This wasn't peace yet. It was just the first moment after. The storm. When Lena entered the council chamber, 100 species looked up at her. Tall reptilian delegates, short insectoid diplomats, feathered philosophers, synthetic A's with glowing eyes, and of course, humans, some from the Sentinel enclaves, others from surviving colonies now stepping back into the galactic stage. The room went quiet. Lena stepped to the center, her voice clear but calm. "The Ascendancy Protocol is over," she said. "So is the shared sovereignty test phase." Murmurs rose in the crowd, but Lena raised her hand to silence them. "I propose a new protocol. One that isn't written by fear or dominance, but by choice." She tapped the console in front of her. A new file appeared on every delegate's device. Simple language. No hidden codes. No backdoors. It read, ***, the new protocol, no species, will control the galaxy alone. All systems will remain open source, transparent to all civilizations. Trade, defense, and communication networks will be monitored by independent AI cores with no species allegiance. History will not be rewritten. The mistakes of the past will stay in the records to prevent new ones. No secret factions will hold. Power behind the scenes. If any system tries to override this agreement, the entire protocol will shut down until a new consensus is reached. ***, the delegates read silently, their eyes reflecting the words. One of the alien leaders, a towering being from the Ketheri clan, spoke first. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. "And who will enforce this?" Lena met his eyes. "We all will. Together, the system is built to collapse if any one species tries to dominate it." An AI representative blinked its optics. "You are trusting the galaxy to monitor itself." Lena nodded. "That's the point. We've tried control. We've tried empires. We've tried secret systems and shadow governments. None of it works. This is the third path." A silence fell across the chamber. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't easy. But it was real. Another delegate, a thin spider-like creature from the Rim worlds, tilted its head. "And if someone rejects the new protocol," Lena's voice didn't waver, "they'll be outside the system. No access to trade networks. No access to Defense A is. No participation in the council. They can live alone if they want. But most won't survive long without cooperation." Cade watched from the side, his expression hard to read. He had once prepared for a human-led galaxy. Now he watched as Lena handed control to every one of Evan's former enemies. But deep down, he understood. This was the only way forward. The delegates whispered among themselves. Some feared the idea. others welcomed it. But all of them knew the truth. They had no better option. One by one, they gave their approval. Reluctantly at first, then with growing momentum. Within hours, the new protocol was signed. The galaxy entered an age of open governance, where no secret empire ruled from the shadows, and no species held the keys to everything. The system ran on checks and balances, coded into the very framework of galactic infrastructure. It wasn't perfect. It never would be. But it was better than the alternatives. Weeks passed. Sentinel Reach became a hub for interstellar cooperation. New academies opened to teach shared technology. Scientists from different worlds worked together. Former enemies built alliances. Even the old defense systems from Earth once designed for domination were now used to protect shared space. It's monitored by councils of mixed-species teams. Lena often stood at the observation window, watching the stars and wondering if she had done the right thing. There were still threats out there, hidden pockets of shadow agents, rogue factions who wanted the old order back. But for now, the galaxy was holding together not because of fear, but because of choice. One night, Vec joined her at the window again. "Do you think it will last?" he asked. Lena smiled slightly. "I don't know, but you hope." She nodded. Hope is part of the protocol now. Cade approached from behind, carrying a datapad. "There's a message for you, Doctor." Lena frowned. "Who?" Cade hesitated. "From an old Earth server. Just came online." Lena took the pad, her hands trembling slightly. The message was short, simple, written in English. "You completed the test. We hoped someone would. Welcome to Phase 0, the era of choice. Good luck." Lena's heart skipped. The message wasn't signed, no name, no date, but she knew what it meant. The final human programmers had left this galaxy a puzzle not to dominate, but to see if someone would choose cooperation over control. Lena Ortiz had made that choice. And now, for the first time, the galaxy had too.